The red and blue lights were already painting my living room walls like a bad disco before I even heard the knock. Coffee scalded my hand as I froze mid-sip, staring at two sheriff's cruisers idling in my driveway like they owned the place. Then Regina Voss stepped out from behind them, arms folded, that plastic smile stretched so tight it looked painful, and announced loud enough for the whole cul-de-sac to hear. "Ethan Caldwell? We've received multiple reports of a non-compliant resident who thinks he can just leave us." I opened the door slowly, heart hammering but voice steady. "Regina, I did leave. Paperwork's filed, signed, stamped. Check your own office." She tilted her head like I'd spoken Martian. "Oh, sweetie, that's not how this works. You can't just walk away from the community that protects your property values." One deputy cleared his throat, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. The other wrote something down while Regina kept talking, voice syrupy sweet for the neighbors now cracking curtains. "We're doing this for the children, you know. Standards matter." That was the moment I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was Regina Voss declaring war on the one guy who'd finally said no. Evergreen Meadows had always been the kind of place real estate agents called idyllic. Manicured lawns, identical beige houses, and a homeowners association that promised harmony. My uncle had left me this corner lot when he passed, the only piece of land in the subdivision that predated the HOA by 15 years. I'd followed every exit rule to the letter, paid the fee, submitted the forms, got the acknowledgement letter. I even framed it. Thought that was the end. It was just the beginning. 3 days later, the first urgent envelope arrived, thick and glossy. Inside, a violation notice for unauthorized vegetation height. My grass was exactly 3 inches. The HOA handbook said 2.75 max. Regina's handwritten note at the bottom read, "We expect better from former members." I laughed once, then filed it. Silence was cleaner. But silence to Regina was rocket fuel. By week 2, the white security SUV was crawling past my house every evening, drivers staring like I was hiding bodies in the azaleas. Then came the welfare checks. Twice in 4 days, officers knocked politely, eyes apologetic. Ma'am at the HOA said she heard yelling possible domestic situation. I showed them my empty living room, my laptop still open to code I'd been writing since lunch. They left embarrassed. I took photos of their badges anyway. Neighbors started crossing the street when they saw me. Mrs. Alvarez, who used to borrow my hedge trimmer, suddenly found her mailbox fascinating. The Wilson kids stopped waving. Rumors spread faster than the sprinkler mist. Ethan's gone rogue. Ethan's anti-community. Ethan probably has a meth lab, because why else would he want out? I heard Regina at the mailbox cluster one morning, voice dripping concern. "We're just worried about him. Isolation like that isn't healthy." I didn't answer. I bought a bigger filing cabinet instead. Nights got weird first. I'd wake to the soft growl of that SUV idling at the curb, headlights sweeping my bedroom wall like searchlights in a prison movie. At 2:17 a.m. One Tuesday, I stepped onto the porch in boxers and robe, phone recording. The driver actually jumped. "Just routine patrol, sir." "Routine for who?" I asked mildly. He sped off. Next morning, another notice was taped to my gate. Observed suspicious nighttime activity. I laughed so hard I snorted coffee. Then I labeled the folder Midnight Comedy and kept going. By month 2, the financial bleed started. Certified letters demanding response fees. Attorney time I couldn't bill clients while fighting nonsense. I stopped buying the fancy coffee and started reading state statutes at 3 a.m. Like other people read thrillers. Every paragraph confirmed what I already knew. Once the exit was acknowledged, their jurisdiction ended at my driveway. Regina wasn't enforcing rules. She was rewriting reality because my freedom proved hers had limits. And people like Regina Voss do not do limits. I didn't yell. I didn't post on the neighborhood Facebook page. I hired a licensed surveyor instead. 2 weeks later, orange stakes marched across my lawn like victory flags. The report was beautiful. My property line sat 43 feet outside the HOA's recorded plat. They'd never had authority, not even before I left. I framed that page too. Then I started buying. Quietly. The foreclosed house, 2 doors down, went for a steal. The retired couple across the street listed theirs to move to Florida. I closed both within 30 days, no signs, no announcements. Suddenly, I owned nearly a third of the block. Regina's empire was shrinking, and she didn't even know it yet. That's when Ellen from the old board showed up at my door with a flash drive and trembling hands. "She's been doing this for years," she whispered. "Selective finds, deleted emails, the works." I couldn't sleep anymore. I took the drive, added it to the growing arsenal. Every patrol photo, every fake police report, every whispered rumor now had a timestamp and a witness. Regina's SUV still circled at 2 a.m., but now I smiled when the headlights hit my window. She thought she was tightening the noose. She was just handing me more rope. The emergency HOA meeting was called with the drama of a royal wedding. Flyers screamed, "Community threat," and "Protect our standards." The clubhouse smelled like burnt coffee and panic. Every chair was filled. I walked in last, folder under my arm, and the room went dead quiet. Regina stood at the podium in her signature pastel suit, pearls gleaming like tiny trophies. "We are here because one individual believes he is above the rules that keep our neighborhood safe," she began, voice honey over broken glass. She listed my crimes: grass violations, flag size. Mine was a quarter-inch too wide, unauthorized solitude. People nodded like bobbleheads. I waited until she finished, then stood. Calm. I left. Legally. Here's the stamped exit. I slid the paper across the table. Gasps rippled. "That doesn't matter." Regina snapped, composure cracking. "Your land is still part of." I laid the survey on top. "Actually, it never was. 43 feet outside your plat. County records confirm." A board member actually whistled. Someone muttered, "Holy crap." Regina's face went the color of cheap rose. "This is manipulation. He's buying up houses to take over." Ellen stood. "Regina, the recordings on this drive say otherwise. You ordered patrols on private property. You filed false reports. We all heard the audio." I hit play on my phone. Regina's own voice filled the room. "Keep circling his house. Make him uncomfortable. For the children." Dead silence. Then laughter, nervous, unstoppable laughter. The kind people make when the emperor's naked and everyone suddenly sees it. Regina slammed the podium. "You can't do this to me." Her voice cracked into something ugly and small. Board members wouldn't meet her eyes. One actually slid his chair away. The administrative hearing 2 weeks later felt like watching a balloon deflate in slow motion. Regina arrived in full armor, suit, pearls, lawyer, convinced the system would save her. My attorney slid the survey, the exit docs, the audio files, the property deeds across the table like a royal flush. The hearing officer didn't even need a recess. The HOA acted without jurisdiction. All actions against Mr. Caldwell are void. Fines will be issued against the association. Ms. Voss, your conduct raises serious questions of abuse of power. Regina's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. For the first time in years, Regina Voss had nothing to say. Outside the courthouse, the air tasted cleaner. No patrol SUV waited at my curb anymore. Neighbors who'd crossed the street for months now nodded. Small, sheepish nods, but nods. Mrs. Alvarez left muffins on my porch with a note. "Sorry, we believed her." I ate them. They tasted like freedom. The new HOA board is boring now. They send one email a month. Grass can be 3 inches. Flags can wave however they want. Nobody calls the cops because my lights are on at 11 p.m. People walk their dogs without glancing over their shoulders. The neighborhood finally feels like a neighborhood again. I still keep the filing cabinet. Not as a trophy, just a reminder. Paper outlasts noise. Silence starves bullies. And sometimes the loudest person in the room is the weakest one standing. I sit on my porch most evenings now, watching the sun drop behind the same mountains my uncle loved. The orange survey stakes are still there, bright against the grass. They don't need to scream. They just stand. And every time a new family moves in and asks about the HOA, I smile and say the same thing. Follow the rules if you want. Just remember, some of us already left the club. So tell me in the end, was the quiet guy who documented everything and waited the real villain for not playing nice? Or was the HOA Karen always the bully hiding behind a laminated badge and the words for the children? Who was actually wrong here? The man who legally walked away, or the woman who couldn't stand that he did? Drop your verdict below. I'm reading every single one.